Hey everyone, this is Renee from iMore.com, and right now I'm going to show you how we do our podcasts and what's in my podcast studio. So one of the questions we get most often is, how do we produce all the podcasts that you watch? And fair enough, I'm curious about this kind of stuff too. I love this kind of stuff. So let me start with the heart. I have a first generation Nehalem Mac Pro. Yes, a cheese grater, a beast. My Retina MacBook Pro is probably faster for, single-threaded operations now, but this has 8 cores and it still has a lot of uses for things like audio and video production. Attached to that, I have an Apple Cinema display. It's not a Thunderbolt display because, of course, the original Mac Pro did not have Thunderbolt support, but it's a great monitor when paired with an older computer like this one. We're currently using Google Hangouts to run the video podcasts. Now, they have their pros and cons. Google makes it more confusing every week on how to start a Hangout, and there are some crazy restrictions and things move around a lot, but it's A, free, and B, ubiquitous. Almost everybody and anybody can use it. It also, when it fails safe, which means that I still get the file. On our old system, which used Wirecast, if it crashed, I lost the entire show, and that just wasn't acceptable. For our audio podcast, we still use Skype, and I use Audio Hijack to capture the audio. So moving on from there, I use 2 different kinds of headphones. I use these AKGs over the ear for the audio podcasts because I don't have to worry about what I look like, and because this cuts out a lot of, any chance of other audio bleeding into my microphone. For the video podcasts, I use a pair of Ultimate ears. I like these because they have the collar clip, and it might seem silly, but when you're standing around podcasting for a long time, things can fall out, you can lose track of them. Being able to clip this on makes all the difference in the world. My keyboard and trackpad are supported by an Xbox 360 box because I have yet to find something that's both aesthetically pleasing and the right height. In an ideal world, I'd replace all this with a standing desk, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I have the basic keyboard, more than suits my purpose, and I use the trackpad because honestly, since Apple put gestures into OS X, I have not touched a mouse. This is way better human interface for me. The microphone is a Hale PR40. It was recommended to me by Leo Laporte, and he has never steered me wrong. An XLR mic, which means I have to use an audio interface. I used to use a really complicated setup because we were mixing multiple sources, but it kept causing problems. I kept getting noise. It was just too complicated for me because I know nothing about audio. So right now I'm using the Apogee 1. It's working really well. On top of the display, I have a Logitech 920 web camera. Alex Lindsay recommended it. He has also yet to steer me wrong, and it creates a fantastic HD picture for streaming video. I have a DVI to HDMI out that goes all the way to this television. This television is a Samsung 46-inch. It shows whatever background I need it to show. It can play videos behind me if I need it to play videos behind me. And it just makes the background a little bit more contextual and a little bit more dynamic. And that's a lot of fun. For lighting, I probably need to move to LED panels. I've got several I'm looking at right now. I'm currently using the Hue light bulb from Philips. The thing I like about the Hue light bulbs is I have them elsewhere in my house, and I can control them via iOS. So I can just take my phone out, I can turn them off. Now I'm in a man cave. I can turn them on. Now I'm in a bat cave. I can also individually control, just with a couple taps, I can start controlling the colors, for example, of the lights. So I can move them to be reds or, all sorts of different colors and hues. Underneath all of this, I have 2 universal power supplies running. I just got them at Costco. I get a lot of power failures, and I don't ever want to have a show go off the air because I have a power failure. So I have the computer hooked into one, and I have the monitor and the accessories hooked into another one. I also have a UPS on my modem and my airport Extreme, because very seldom when the power goes out does the cable internet actually go out. So as long as it's still getting power, I'm still getting internet. I also am currently using a Synology RAID appliance as a backup. All the shows just get transferred. I download them from YouTube. You can go to the edit screen and just download the MP4. I save the MP3s. One copy goes on the Synology system, one copy goes on Dropbox. That way I have 2 backups terrestrially and 1 backup in the cloud, and that makes things ever so much more comfortable and safer for all involved. So that's it. That's a quick look at how I produce all the podcasts for Mobile Nations, for iMore, and for any special events we might be running. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, please just leave a comment below. I'm happy to answer anything. If you have any suggestions for me, for example, for better LED lighting, for what I can use to replace this trusty old Xbox desktop that I'm using, please also throw that in the comments. You can reach me on Twitter @ReneRitchie on all of the social things. You can also find me at iMore.com. And for more great videos, please do not forget to subscribe to youtube.com/iMoreVideo. And for those who have asked about the posters, I have Empire Strikes Back, the middle of the greatest 2.5 movies ever made. I have Batman, not necessarily Batman Begins, but Batman in general because I love comic books. And I have Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon because I love the Chinese wuxia or martial hero genre. Lord of the Rings, unfortunately, I do not have room for because I have put up a shelf that contains innumerable boxes for all the Apple stuff that I have been accumulating over the course of iMore. Too many trade shows!